Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be touching on update 6.2 again. If I had to guess, this update will be releasing on Tuesday. Now, we haven't as of yet got our hands on the update notes. I think, if I had to guess, those will be releasing tomorrow on the Friday. And if that is the case, I will of course be making another video then with all of the changes. But ever since that podcast came out on Monday and we heard about some of the stuff, DICE have been drip feeding us little bits of information about what we can expect to see in 6.2. So we're going to get some pretty significant weapon nerfs, probably to some of your guys' favorite guns. So if you want to tier 1 those weapons and you haven't already done so, I would really recommend working on those now before the patch comes out. And just yesterday, they also went into a little bit more fine detail on how some of the new vehicle changes are going to work. All of that is coming up, but as always guys, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Also, follow me over on Twitter and join the Discord if that's your bag. I also wanted to quickly thank you guys for the reception to Monday's video. The going has been somewhat tough here on YouTube over the past few weeks, and that good reception on that video is all down to you guys, so thank you so much for the support guys. It really does mean a lot. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into some of the weapon changes here, and we're going to go through this in the temporal order. So, all the way back on Monday, of course, Murphy's Law, as soon as I started making that video and uploaded it on YouTube, DICE decided to drop some more information. So, they say here, with the introduction of Redacted, player feedback highlighted that the MCS-880 was performing beyond expectations, and we agreed. This was creating unfair instances of one-hit kills at longer ranges. Going forward, one-hit kills will no longer be possible over 25 meters. It will be far rarer to one-hit kill between 20 and 25 meters too. Additionally, the number 4 buckshot ammo type had performed the strongest at almost all ranges with update 6.0, and this will now be reduced to its intended short-range role. So no exact details here on what numbers they're changing. I'm sure we'll see that in the patch notes, but I do have to agree with them. I think we all know the MCS-880 is an absolute menace in Redacted. I've been using it recently, as you'll see in the background footage, mainly because I want to tier 1 it before it becomes, I don't want to say obsolete and useless, I'm sure it will still be decent, but let's face it, it's going to be way easier to tier 1 this weapon now than it will be after the nerfs. So if you guys are looking to do that, then I recommend doing it sooner rather than later. Also, a little tip that I'd like to throw in here, I forget the user's name, so sorry mate that I've forgotten your name, but on the stream yesterday, somebody actually recommended that I use hipfire rather than ADSing with a shotgun. Now, you would assume that ADSing with this shotgun would be more accurate, and maybe this is somewhat placebo, but I seem to find that whenever I hipfired it, it was more accurate and I got more kills at longer ranges than when I ADS'd with it. So like I say, I'm not sure if that's just a placebo thing, but give it a try. It definitely worked out really well for me. And that is certainly not the end of the nerfs here, as it looks like DICE deemed both the VHX-D3 and the G428, those are two of the new weapons that came in with Season 6, to be too powerful. So on the VHX here, they say, while this weapon has received mixed feedback regarding its damage output, Update 6.2 will have this weapon's starting accuracy decreased and will also have an increase to its dispersion build-up in response to players feeling that it's packing too much of a punch. So no straight damage nerfs by the looks of it, but there is going to be a greater dispersion build-up, which will of course be exacerbated the longer the range. So it's kind of like the RM68 problem. I don't think this gun is as overpowered as the RM68 was when that gun first released, but if you recall, what made the RM68 so good is it was just so damn accurate, and I do get the same sort of feeling from the VHX. Now, as for the DMR, it says here the G428's role is to be a close-range DMR. As such, we are reducing the standard issue ammo 2-hit kill range from 40 meters all the way down to 20 meters. We're also including a new 4-hit kill range over 125 meters. These changes will readjust this weapon into its close range as intended. You will also see further changes such as high power ammo remaining viable at longer ranges and more broader changes to recoil, accuracy, and more to bring this weapon in line with other DMRs. So what's really made this gun good, and I think makes most of the DMRs in the game good, is that 2-hit kill range. So nerfing that from 40 meters all the way down to 20 meters that is a pretty big nerf. That is rather significant. Honestly, I don't really understand why they're doing this. The gun is good, don't get me wrong, but after having picked it up and used it myself, I really don't feel like it's all that great. I don't think it has anything or can really hold a candle to the VHX-D3. There are also other DMRs in the game, like the M39 EMR, that in my opinion can still outclass this weapon if you use the right attachments on it. But, you know, that being said, I will admit that I'm not the biggest DMR user in the world, so maybe I'm wrong about that, maybe it really does need a nerf. In any case, guys, let me know what you think about that down below. Okay, so now that you guys are up to speed on all of the weapon nerfs that are coming to the game, let's move on to some of the air vehicle impact improvements here. So as I mentioned in Monday's video, we are getting a computed impact point, or what is generally called a PIP, which actually stands for predicted impact point, but I digress. Whatever it is, it basically shows you where your missiles and your bullets are going to land, so that it kind of takes some of the guesswork out of shooting things. This has been in previous Battlefield games before, like Battlefield 4 and etc., and it's high tide it came to Battlefield 2042 as well, and that is what is happening with Update 6.2. And they say here we'll be rolling out computed impact points that take into consideration several factors such as vehicle velocity, angular velocity, gravity, and drag to draw an accurate impact point of up to 300 meters. So first of all here, if you're shooting at a target beyond 300 meters, then you cannot rely on this impact point. We'll also align the vehicle crosshair on all cameras that are available on air vehicles with this point, ensuring that player crosshairs are as accurate as they can be. This feature will behave as a reliable impact point on vehicles with one weapon, such as jets. However, air vehicles that feature two weapons under their wings, like the ND540 Nightbird, will perform slightly differently. We'll calculate the distance on both of the weapons, and then come to an average of both, which defines the impact point. All of this is with the intent of improving player readability and allowing you to anticipate your hits with greater precision. So I'm sure if you're not very up to date with vehicles in Battlefield games and the way that they work, that was a little bit confusing to you, so let me try to simplify this. Basically, certain weapons on vehicles, like the example that they gave here, the cannons, the 25mm cannon, or the 30mm cannon for that matter, on the jets, only have one singular point of origin where they essentially spawn into the game from your vehicle. And so they only need one of these impact points tied to that point of origin to show you where your bullets are going to land. So that has always been one of the hardest things to do in jets, is strafing infantry and killing infantry with the 25mm cannons, because it's affected by not just how far away you are from the target, but also by the trajectory of the aircraft, drag, and all of these different physical factors within the game. And up until now, you've pretty much just had to learn yourself how those systems in the game affect your aim with the 25mm cannons, which is why most people can't kill infantry with jets. So that's really great. Hopefully this predicted impact point is now going to make that a whole lot easier. However, most of the vehicles in the game, like for example the Nightbird, well, they have a weapon under each wing. So instead of giving us two separate predicted impact points here, one for the weapon on the left wing and one for the weapon on the right wing, what they're going to do is have a singular one that gives you an estimation of where both of the weapons are going to converge. Now, I don't know why they've really done it this way. I don't know if it's because of the technical limitations of the game, but I would have much preferred to have two separate points. As those of you who use Nightbirds will know, there is a certain range from a target where the miniguns will perfectly converge and cross over one another, and that is really the perfect range to strafe infantry from. That is where you're going to be getting the most amount of damage, instead of hitting them with only one of the miniguns. So having two separate impact points slowly drifting towards each other as you got closer to the target, and then being able to see where they cross over one another, and knowing, okay, this is the perfect range to now open fire, would have been way more helpful. So that does make me wonder, and lead me to believe at least, that the reason they've actually not done this is to leave a little bit of skill in there, so they don't hold your hand too much, they don't give the game away and make things essentially too obvious. Anyway, I am very interested and excited to see how this looks and how it turns out. Unfortunately, they didn't show us any little video snippet here on Twitter, so we can't see what it looks like. We just have the text description. But fingers crossed we're going to get patch notes tomorrow on the Friday, and then the patch next Tuesday. Could be wrong. That's complete and utter conjecture on my part, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. As always, guys, leave me your own thoughts down below. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.